I bought these 2 kit boxes from Home Bargains. I'm trying to think what it was. And they look like a resin sort of deal. So I thought I'd have a little look and I would open them with you and see if they're any good, because I love doing resin. But I also like seeing what else is out there. So these are called Gemex. They had another set as well that came with like this UV clamshell. I felt that was a little bit extreme, but I like the molds on these, so I thought even if the resin isn't very good, I could use my own resin in these. So we'll have a little look and see, shall we? So let's start with the smaller kit first. So in here we should have a little UV torch, some liquid magic they call it, which I suspect is probably UV resin, a mold, and these really adorable little slices of cuteness. So the thing that intrigued me is that resin is actually quite potent. It's not very child friendly at all. So I wondered what it is that they had in here. So it'd be interesting to see if it's anything like resin. So we have instructions. Okay, magically sets from gel to gems. Alright, so this is the clam I was telling you about, that you open it up and then you put it down and then it sets. So it's a little bit like a nail bar type thing. That's not going to be very helpful for what we're doing here. It looks like possibly the instructions are relatively generic actually. So we are using the Gemex mini torch. Yeah, here, like this. So let's see. Yeah, it's the last one on here. Okay, so it says, squeeze the Gemex gel into the mold, add decorations and use the tool to ensure that they are all covered with the Gemex gel. Turn the torch on and shine directly and evenly onto the bezel mold for 3 to 5 minutes. Do not shine UV light into eyes. Right, fair enough. Okay, so this is not what it has in the box. So this is our first issue. So it says here we can have these cute little fruit molds, which I have to say that was the thing that was kind of leading me towards buying this, because I like the look of these. And we have this hideous glitter stuff, which I don't like particularly. We've got the Gemex gel and we have the UV torch. How do we turn this on? That's the back. Oh, well, I am not sure how we turn that on, quite frankly. This lid is loose as well. Oh, it's a... Right, so this is for ages 5 and up. Ah, there we go. Oh, God. Right, okay. So you have to hold this for 3 to 5 minutes, but you've got to squeeze hard to do it. I'm really not very optimistic about this, if I'm honest. Okay, so I've put my protector on. So I apologise that it's a bit yucky. I'm somewhat tempted actually to open up the other box and use their UV thing, but we'll use this because this is the kit that we've got. So it says squeeze the Gemex gel into the mold. So it's a push and twist. Hopefully it's going to come out. Let's just do one little thing. Let's just do this star. So it comes out all right. Now I'm not going to put too much in. I'm really disappointed that I'm not getting those little fruity bits. Okay, consistency wise, that has actually flowed really nicely. There are no bubbles in there, which you would get. You can definitely have there's definitely a sort of resiny smell. In a minute I'll put some on my finger, not because I want to have it on my finger, but I'll put some on my finger because I've experienced resin enough on the hands, so it'll be good to know. Ooh! There you go, there's some in there. I don't want to put too much in actually, because oh my god, this stuff is awful. Right, so I put add decorations and use the tool to ensure they're all covered with the Gemex. Now it says use the tool. Is there a tool? There is not a tool. Okay, so I'm going to use my own little pokey tool. I'm guessing if you're doing this at home and you don't have your own little pokey tool, you are going to be a tad stuck. Use a chopstick, not chopstick, a toothpick. Right, okay, I'm going to try putting a little bit more in. I don't want to put too much in because I'm really not expecting that UV light to be able to do a whole heap of stuff, to be honest. Just make sure I'm in the corners. Right, okay. So, I've just done some colouring and my fingers are already really sore. So I'm just shining it on here. It says to do for 3 minutes. My hands are already hurting. I haven't even done 30 seconds. That is literally the extent of the instructions. It just says turn the torch on and shine directly and evenly into the bezel mould for 3 to 5 minutes. And then it also reminds me not to shine it in my eyes, which is fine if I'm a 5-year-old. Oh god. Oh my word. It is actually setting amazingly. And I've not even done it for the full length of time. I'm thinking if you were to add mica powder or something like that in, or lots of decoration, the UV light is not going to be able to get underneath those things. So probably that's why the fruit things were not actually included, because the resin underneath wouldn't have got enough light. And if you'd have gone on this side, quite often you have clear molds, and by doing it on this side it would set it as well, but I don't think that would work. Oh! What the? Wow, that's hot underneath, guys. Never experienced that before. That's weird. Okay. So I'm going to keep shining it, see if I can get all the way through. I don't know how long to do it for, actually. I mean, I am very impressed with how much it has hardened already. But that was very surprising. I was not expecting that. It's still a little bit wet, but as you can see, it's sort of solid. I'll do it for a bit longer. That was so weird that it was hot. Didn't make any sense at all. Was it because I shone it on the back? Yeah, this is actually making it warm. How weird. Okay, so still feels a teeny tiny little bit tacky. I think what I'm going to do is take it out and then shine it here. Oh. Just see if that can set the top. I mean, there's not any particular odour, which is quite good. So the safety on here, not to be ingested. I am rather surprised that this is suitable for 5 years and up. I mean, this is obviously a chemical, isn't it? So why? Well, they obviously don't know what 5-year-olds are capable of. So, not to be ingested, do not swallow. Read safety directions. Use under adult supervision at all times. Contains chemicals which may cause allergic reactions. Safety directions. Do not apply magic gel to skin. Avoid contact with skin and eyes. If skin contact occurs, do not shine the UV light or go into sunlight, as this may cause a burn or skin... A burn? Or skin reaction? Jeez. That first aid. Oh, sorry, first aid is a new sentence, okay. If in eyes or on skin, flush immediately with running water. For advice, contact a poisons information centre by calling NHS 111. Okay, so we have slight alarm bells there. We're allowing 5-year-olds to basically play with poisons. That is very alarming. Okay, so it is very wonky. I'd put another layer in. As you can see, it is a little bit, well, I don't know if you can see. It isn't too bad. I mean, I'm quite impressed with it. Right, so if I put it in, back in, if I can, I'm going to fill it to the top this time. And then maybe I could do another one as well. Yeah, the thing with UV resin generally is pretty potent and smelly. I might do the little star. Little star would be cute. Let's pick up some of these bits. I'm finding it very alarming, the whole might burn thing. I mean, I've never found resin has burnt me before. Maybe I'm just not doing it right. Very concerning. I am finding this torch incredibly difficult to keep pressed. It's because of my fibromyalgia, my hands can't hold a pencil for very long, so having to press it and keep it in is actually quite painful. Still, at least I'm trying with this particular torch that they've provided. I'm sorry if you can't always see, I've got to keep moving it to a position that's kind of comfortable. I suspect probably that this little battery is not going to last very long either. So you get a lot of sinkage with resin. So you can see here, I actually had it right up to, just get rid of that bit. I had it right up to the surface. So just grabbing a tissue. And it has sunk quite a lot already. But hopefully it'll be alright. Oh gosh, that one's set already. I am quite impressed at the speed it's setting, considering how painful it is to do this. It is setting quite well. Now with resin you can normally dome something after you've finished, because you always have a tiny bit of sinkage. You can usually dome over the top, so it'll be interesting to see if I can do that with this. I'm very impressed with the speed though. Okay, the top is still a little bit wobbly, but I can get some more in there. Oh, look at that. That is actually very cute. That's fully... No, it's not quite fully. Could do with a bit more of a blast. It's surprisingly warm. Maybe I just don't pick up the resin quick enough or something. No, I do, because I take it out the UV light. I mean, when I do it, I have this big UV light nail bar thing. So I do find the heat of this somewhat confusing. So what I'm gonna, it does feel quite tacky, I think, because it can't properly set. Okay, well, I think that needs to have longer, and I suspect that needs to have longer too, actually. So, oh, it's got a weird little bump in it. Let's put that in there. Okay, so there isn't a huge amount else I can really do with this set, particularly not with that torch, because it is just unbearable. So I'm going to put that to one side, try and move some of this glitter, which I think is going to go everywhere. Right, and then let's open up this other box and see what we've got going on here. Hopefully a better torch. So we have another major instruction thing. We've got a torch that has a clicky bottom, so that's good. The only thing that we have that's a real pain in the backside is I'm going to need batteries for this. And what sort of batteries do I need, I wonder? Oh gosh, it's not going to be one of those flat ones, is it? Let's see if these instructions are any different. Oop. La 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 la. Right, okay. So, oh, we need AAA batteries. I'm not sure I've got AAA batteries. It's a bit annoying. And I need to take this little thing out using very pointy scissors by the looks of it. But other than that, the instructions are exactly the same. So, have I got anything? I know what I've got. I've got a little pair of pliers here. There we go. And I need 3 AAA batteries. So I better go and locate some of those, I think, and then I will be back. Okay, that actually didn't take very long. I had some in my drawer. Right, 1, 2, 3. And then we need to have a little look and see what was included in our kit. Now, does this matter which way around I put it? It looks like it was this way up. I dare say I will find out eventually. Let's pop this back in. Oh. So I think that's to stop it going off prematurely. Oh, lovely. Okay, so that's a lot better already. Right, so we've got that torch. Let's see what else we have in the bag. It does look like we have a pokey tool this time, so that's going to be handy. I'll get in it, of course. So we have some really nice metal forms, some chains, Actually, that's the point. This one didn't come with any rings. So, although you can make the shapes with these, you can't actually turn them into anything. So, we've got exactly the same mould. Now, what mould did it say we were going to get? Oh, actually, it did look like it was going to be exactly the same mould. So, can't blame him for that. Got some little stars and moons. Some little iridescent drops. They're quite cute. I have... It kind of looks like clay. Okay. This is tape to put these on so that when you put the liquid on, when it's dry, it'll be see-through. We've got some of the iridescent blue. That's got little circles and things. That's quite cute. We've got some fake sprinkles. We have a pokey tool. So pokey that end, scoopy that side. 2 hair clips. Maybe this is meant to attach it onto here. I don't know. Now, unfortunately, this mould is really bent, so it's not going to be overly practical because all the liquid is going to float up. I think if you had a hairdryer or something, I would actually heat that slightly so that it would flatten. So I probably will use the other one. Let's see what else is on the back. No, back. That's not any help at all. Right, so what they've done here is they've put the star on, and you can see it's got a hole. So they don't really care that there's a hole, which is fair enough. Okay. Ideally, what you would want for the hair clip bits would be shapes without holes. So what do we think this is? I wonder if it'll say in our extensive instructions. So we haven't got the clamshell. Adhesive layer, we've done that one. This is a clamshell, this is the battery. How to use the mini torch, replacing batteries. How to attach gems, 2 rings and hair clips. Roll a ball of blue putty or modelling clay, place in the centre of the shell. Push the ring hair clip base into the putty with the face side facing up and flat. Place a small dot of the gel onto the ring hair clip face and gently place the solid gem onto the ring hair clip face. Right, okay. Again, if you were to use something too dark, I don't think it would work. So this is when we come to affix anything to here, which would make sense. Okay, well, as that is severely bent, should we have a little look at making one of these? So when you do things like this with resin normally, there is some tape, specialist tape you can get. You can use sticky, like sellotape, but sellotape can sometimes have a bit of a texture on the surface. Right, so let's put that on there, give it a nice push down. So the edges don't matter, what's important is how it is on the inside. I managed to get my fingerprint in the middle. Not sure how I managed that quite, but got to make sure there's a proper seal all the way around so it doesn't leach into the other side. Okay, so little unicorn. Okay, I'm actually somewhat scared to do this. Now, because I've got 2 of these, I'm not actually going to open this one. I'm going to keep using this one so I don't have 2 on the go. And what shall we have? I really like these little drops, but I think we'll have a blue unicorn. No, we will have a silver unicorn and put some pink and blue maybe in those bits. Yes, Jen, that's a really good idea. Oh, I haven't got any scissors. Okay. So I'm gonna put some in my hand, I think. Let's have a go with this scoopy thing. Is the scoopy thing going to be any good? Well, it's interesting. So you can use normal glitter and things like that in these sorts of projects, but what I'm doing is I'm just using what they're giving us. Oh, I keep pinging them out my hand. So if you're new to resin and similar things like this, basically resin will not stick to I want to get that a little bit out. It will not stick to silicone. How am I going to get that bit out? Come here, little drop. Don't want you in there. Pidding. Oh, and I managed to get one in there as well. Come out, come out. And also you can peel it off with this, if it sets hard on this sort of tape, you can peel it off as well. I wonder if I can get it that now. If I do it that way, I'm just going to ruin it, aren't I? Yeah, that's not going to move for love nor money. Alright then, let's just go with that, shall we? So quite often with resin, you need to heat the resin slightly with either with a naked flame, although be careful because it's flammable, or with a heat gun, something like that, just to get the bubbles up to the surface. This doesn't seem to be bubbling a huge amount, which is quite impressive, but there are some. So I'm just going to try and make sure these are all coated underneath. I'm trying to be careful not to get it too much on top, because what will happen is if it manages to flow over the top in one place, it'll just keep doing it. Right, let's try this torch. So much easier because I don't need to keep it pressed down. I wonder if I can pick it up and show you me doing it. So as you can see, the little shapes. Okay, so big warnings, don't do that. It does get really hot underneath. No knowing that to happen with resin, that's quite... Ow. Don't do it on a flammable surface. So it is sinking quite a lot again. Actually, the smell's beginning to get a bit more smelly now as well. So I would suggest a well-ventilated room. I'm really surprised about that heat, you know, guys. That's really quite worrying. Okay, let's see how we're going. Okay, that does seem to be pretty much all over. A little bit here. That's rather cute, isn't it? I can't get over that heat. I find that quite amazing. Quite amazing. Now, if you can see, it's sunk quite a lot in a few different places. So there and there, I'm just going to add a little bit more. Sorry, it's not really focusing very well. Just to pull it back up again. I'm trying to do it sort of relatively smoothly all over if I can, because otherwise I'm going to end up with little bumps. So when I come to, oh, let's not get that. When I come to doing the rest of it, I need to remember not to put anything in that hole there, because that is the hole to put the ring through. So I guess I need to decide what I am going to put on the other bits. It might be quite nice to have pink and blue coordinated. I want to use the little sprinkle bits, but I think they're just going to be too big for the areas. What did they use on theirs? Oh, actually they use sprinkles on theirs. Okay, right, let's go for the other colours. So, going to do blues, I think, first. It's funny, it's getting some bubbles in it now. So, I've only just put some liquid in there. I'm always making sure I put the lid down, because if it's like the UV resin, it'll... Oh, that blue is so nice. It'll solidify. That's why it's in a dark bottle. Let's give it just a tiny bit of a stir. Make sure everything is coated. Right. Then give it a bit of a whack with the light. So it says 3 to 5 minutes, but with this torch it is substantially quicker actually. It's quite amazing how much it's sagged. But that blue's rather nice. Got a nice iridescent. In fact, it looks a little bit pinky on the other side. Okay, right, let's do some pink next. I guess when they said don't leave it on your hands because it could burn, they weren't kidding. I've never come across that happening with resin, so I'm pretty sure that wouldn't happen with normal resin, but you certainly wouldn't do resin with under 5-year-olds. I mean, sorry, 5-year-olds. Trying to get it off the sides there. Okay. And what about the horn? I might just do it plain. Right, let's see how that goes. So we have a pinky tail So I think if you decided to add your own glitters and such, be advised, don't add too much, just in case it can't set. At least with doing it this way, you can turn it over and you could shine the light on the other side because it is clear. Okay, let's do some on the other side. Sorry, this is a slightly boring bit for you. Okay. It has set, but it does feel a tiny bit tacky, but let's have a little look. Let's peel the back off. Hopefully it'll peel off fine. Get rid of that. Now it feels a little bit tacky, but I don't know if that's because of the sticky or not. So I'm going to give it a good 3 to 5 minute full over set with a UV light. I'm not going to video that bit because that's going to be a bit boring, so I'll be back in a minute. Righty-ho! So I have done it for quite a long time. It still felt, it sort of felt greasy. I mean, it's set, but it just feels and as you can see, it's not as shiny as I would like. I've just run it under the tap, and I mean, it's not leaving any residue on my fingers. It just feels tacky. I think I would actually run it under a UV lamp for much longer, but it has come out really sweet, I think, anyway. What do you guys reckon? So I can then put it on, they've provided this little chain, so I can hook it onto there, make quite a heavy chain, but actually it'd be quite cute. You could put it around your teddy bear or something. And I was just looking at this set, and I've realised I didn't get the mould I wanted either. The reason I got this particular one is because I wanted these and the mould. I thought the mould would be really fun, but this is the you know, I got two the same of this mould, which is a real shame really, because it sort of made this set completely and utterly useless because the torch was painful. I didn't get the mould I wanted and I didn't get the shapes that I wanted, but it was fully sealed, so it was obviously packed like that as opposed to somebody dipping into it and just taking out what they wanted. So I do feel pretty disappointed at that, if I'm honest. But I guess you can't have everything. So that's my general verdict really. It's personally I don't think it's suitable for 5-year-olds. I would say it's better placed really for sort of early teens, when they can be just a tiny bit more responsible. Emphasis on tiny. Still with adult supervision. I also think they should have added some disposable gloves in there. I know there are lots of allergies with some types of disposable gloves, but I think just making that effort would have, you know, really brought home the fact that it can burn the skin. It doesn't say anywhere about it being really hot to touch in the mould. I mean, it obviously didn't burn, but I think you'd want to be careful on what surface you did it on. And also be aware that you may not get what you wanted in the box. as is evident by this. And also I do not recommend this torch. It's just too hard to push. I mean, this is a lot easier to push, but if you've got one of those nail bar ones, I'd get that. There is this gem, you can see here, look, it's like a clam that opens up and you put it inside. It may well be not too bad, but it may also be really rubbish. It's sort of hard to know, really. I think don't buy the most expensive and get the clam one if you're thinking that you're just going to produce amazing stuff all the time. I mean, if you're after making proper jewellery like this, then obviously you need to invest in some resin and do it properly. But I think for kids, the older kids, I think it's lovely. It's it sort of works. It needs a little bit more setting, but I mean, that is hard. Yeah, very mixed bag. I'm sort of disappointed, yet really quite impressed that it works so quickly. So what do you think? I'd like to know what you think. Pop it in the comments below, and I'll open another kit with you again soon. Thank you. Bye. Okay, so this is what I've created. I used a bottle and a half, so the small bottle that came in the small kit and half of the big bottle. I've made two little hair things. They slipped around a bit trying to get them to stick on, and I think possibly you would want to make sure that there's some of the resin that goes over the top as well to make them super secure. And also they've got holes in because of the moulds, but they do seem to be quite cute, so I quite like those ones. And then I had to go with the necklace. I mean, apart from the fact that gold is just not my colour at all. There's the unicorn, still feels a little bit tacky. In order to get this ring through the other charms, I did have to sand the back down. So what I could do is I could polish that up. I just use normal sandpaper you'd get for buildings and things like that. I didn't use wet and dry, which is what I would normally use with resin, and I didn't polish it up either. But that is rather cute. I actually noticed when I was doing this steam coming off it, so the heat is definitely an issue. Little rainbow with the little gems on too. I mean, the little sprinkles are quite cute. I don't remember there being quite so many brown sprinkles. I hope they haven't changed colour because of the resin stuff. I did this one. It's not as sticky as the unicorn one, thankfully, but using the same technique as I did with the unicorn, and still quite see-through, so that's quite a good one. And then another star, and there we go. But yes, when you're doing the moulds, if I show you, if this bends when you're doing it, then it's much harder to get the little ring through, because that little bit there is basically what creates your hole in your charm. So yeah, you have to be a bit careful. And this one, I actually accidentally took the top off, as you can see there, so it's a bit short, but still, I mean, it went alright. I still have loads of stuff left, loads of the charms, the sort of powders and stuff. A few experiments that didn't go very well. This had sort of funny lines on it that where it had dried funny. I also noticed that when you use this, if you do it in an angle, the really strange thing is it's almost like you are blowing into it, because part of it just sort of moves. It's really, really weird. So when you're using this, make sure you do it evenly. But yes, I mean, I still stand by my comment before that I think it'd be better for older children. Even with adult supervision, I think it's really inappropriate for under 10-year-olds. But it is quite a cute kit. I mean, it's you know, a good way to introduce to resin. It isn't quite as pongy as resin is, and it does seem to set a little bit quicker, but in the instances of these, they do still feel quite tacky, which is kind of bizarre really, but these feel completely fine. So anyway, if you have a go with this stuff, do let me know how you get on and what you think. I'd be really interested to find out. So thank you ever so much for watching. Take care. Bye.